Hello, everybody. Welcome to Anime Sickos. It's the podcast for geniuses and the only podcast. On Anime Sickos, we look at the four pillars of modern misery, and they are anime, gaming, posting, and jobs. I'm Tom, an Anime Sicko.
I'm Joe, an Anime Sicko.
Joe, we have a lot of patrons to get through on account of we took a break week, and then we did...
It's actually because we're very good.
Yeah.
The reason is everyone loves us, and they are tripping over each other to give us $5 dues.
Yes. It's not... You're not tripping if you give us $5. That's smart. You're tripping over everyone else who wants to do it too. I heard
but
you say you're tripping
if that's what you want.
Okay.
Yeah.
You'll start. Okay. We got a backlog because we took a break week, and then we did sketches, which there's no time for patrons. Then we did another break week. But anyway, thank you first off to Aaron Odell. I believe Aaron Odell is a repeat giver. If not, you get giver valor for totally free. You didn't steal it. You just got given it. So
yeah, if you turn the money back on after turning it off, thank you.
That's like only a hero would do that. Speaking of heroes, we got Typhoon Jim. Thank you, Jim. You're as powerful as a typhoon to me.
That is like a first grouping Punch-Out guy.
Yes. He's like Piston Honda's friend. Next up is Joseph Etheridge. Thank you, Joseph.
Good name, Joseph. I like it.
Yeah. Solid. Next up is Kayla. Or Kella. Kela. I'm going to say it's Kayla.
Okay, I'll agree with you. But what's important is they gave us money. Thank you.
Yes, this is true. At the end of the day, whether or not my pronunciation is correct, my sentiment is correct that this is one of the greatest people who has ever lived. And lastly, I don't know how to pronounce this one. This is Ash. Thank you, Ash. I hope you catch them all.
He did, right?
I think so.
Eventually.
I mean, I didn't keep watching. Who did? Anyway.
He has to lose at every Elite Four on every continent.
That's true. All right, that's all the patrons. We're back to basics.
We're a little rusty in the sense that it's been a series of breaks. The break was for a good reason. Tom did the really the most unfortunate thing you can do, which is purchase a home.
Yeah, I moved.
He went through a closing experience, which is really great because it's the most stressful day of your life. You've never had more money kind of bouncing around, and there's a bunch of people who are just like, these forms are wrong. You have to go to hell now.
Yeah, it's so funny. We had to do wiring, and wiring is the funniest thing 'cause it's like, just so you know, wire fraud is the easiest crime in the universe to do. Anyone, if somebody tricks you into saying the wrong number once, all of your money goes to hell and they win. Like, no law could ever punish them. It's so fucked. I hear you had when you had your closing, you had an experience where...
Oh, yeah, I did wire fraud.
You did wire fraud. No, what happened to your check? You said some fucking bullshit with that.
No, this wasn't even like the check for the wiring of the down payment. This was to just pay the title company, the law firm we used, and we closed during COVID in February in Chicago, so it was very foggy and depressing. It looked like no one had ever been in the city. So I walked over to Chase, and I got the certified check, because it has to be like the certified thing, and not the real. Now you can't do your checkbook.
Mm-hmm.
And then I walk back through the apocalypse. I'm in much pain because it was like right after my surgery. I get back up there like, here is the certified check you asked. It's made out to proper title. And he takes one look at it and says, this says pauper title. And I was like, okay. And I walked back to Chase, and I got to the teller. I was like, you fucked both of us. You should have caught this.
We had, it ended up being fine. I don't want to dwell on it too much, but there was a moment where we went to my wife's bank because we were going to use her account to do the wire transfer for the down payment. And we got told by our homie Al and by our lawyer, who was Al's recommendation and also Al's high school buddy.
And who I used.
Yes. And like, yo, if you go to the bank and do the wire transfer the day before closing, everything will be fine. There's no chance it won't work. And we said, great, we'll do that. And so we go to the bank, and it's like 3:30 in the afternoon. We're like, we'd like to do a wire transfer. And they're like, okay, let's fill out this form. And we filled out the form, and I was like, dope. So this is gonna like be like sent through by tomorrow. And they're like, oh, no, we're actually like, no, we are not doing the transfer tonight. And we're like, what? It's like, yeah, we're done with transfers for today. We stopped. And we were like, what? And it's like, yeah, this bank doesn't do wires after 3 in the afternoon. And we're like, what?
Did they turn off the machine?
Yeah, and so we called our lawyer, and they're like, hey, is this going to be an issue? They say they won't actually send the thing because they're done with wires today. And we were expecting him to be like, oh yeah, totally. I mean, like, yeah, this is totally normal. I'm sorry I didn't tell you. No, what he did is he just about had a panic attack on the phone and was like, if this doesn't work, you won't be able to close on the house. And if we have to extend closing to the following Monday, that's going to mess everything up. Oh no. And it's a miracle I did not end my own life right then on the call, but it ended up being fine. The wire went through like minutes before closing was set to begin. And we're here.
There is nothing better in life than like something weird happened. I'm going to ask if it's like, I don't think it's that big of a deal, but like, let me just kind of get some verification here, and the other person being like, you're fucking done, your life's over. It sucks.
He said, I've done this every day for 15 years and I've never seen anything like this. Which, I mean, I kind of like that. I hate when something horrible happens to me, but I like when an expert is like, this is horrible. I'm like, I know, right? Yeah. I'm not just kind of annoyed by something. I'm not miffed. I actually am suffering from a hellish imposition. Anyway, this is not. I don't want to. Let's move past this. You know, it all ended up being fine, and I am now in my new place. It kicks ass. It's as good as I hoped it would be. Yeah, I'm glad to break it in for Anime Sickos.
Yeah, I'm used to seeing you in the video because we have the camera on because we have to make bro eye contact.
This is true.
I'm used to seeing Tom at his old place, so it's weird seeing you in a different location. The lighting is a little different.
Yeah.
You got those two closet doors that don't match.
What? Wait, two closet? No, I have one closet. Holy shit! Whoa. Okay, that door didn't used to be there.
Did you get a House of Leaves house?
One second. Let me check this out. Door opening sound effect here. Oh yeah, this is House of Leaves for sure. This is way bigger than the rest of my house. There's a big spiral.
Is there cold air coming out of it? Is there cold air?
It's so cold. The smell is. I don't have the words for it.
You're not gonna go in though, because like you're scared of everything.
I'm going in.
I'm honestly okay. All right, this is.
I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to tie a rope around my waist. I'm going to leave the extra rope here in front of the computer. And one thing that won't happen is that the rope's not long enough and I get lost.
You should just take the mic with you.
Yeah. 1 second. Okay. I have the mic with me now. I'm going to bring it down. Here I go. Wow. Joe, this is spooky as hell.
So do you have to pay like property tax on that square footage? It's just like a lot.
I don't know how the Cook County is going to assess this because I think the square footage is ever changing. I definitely know that I'm going to be spending most of my time obsessively tape measuring stuff. And
then seeing how the numbers are different.
Yeah.
And then freaking out. Yeah. That's what House of Leaves is all about. There was a monster in House of Leaves that had like claws and shit. Is there any signs of that?
Could be. Definitely hearing roars and screeches. You can't hear them on the podcast because I didn't want to edit them in. Just trust me. Yeah, I don't really remember what happened in House of Leaves. I remember they were obsessively tape measuring stuff because of the room in the house that was too big to be possible. And then there was like half of the book where like a tattoo guy was like, I want to fuck. And then I stopped reading because I was sick of him.
I mean, that's right. That is most of the book. And then the letters are in the back that you can read at any time out of order. Choose your own adventure. Those are letters from I want to fuck to I think his mom.
Yeah. There's one that was in code, and I decoded it, and I was like, what a waste of time.
So are you like scared?
No, I'm fine. Now, let's actually start the show. I'm going to do it in the House of Leaves zone.
That's fine.
This is where I feel most comfortable. You know what? I can put so much storage stuff here. Like, I don't really know where to put my bike, but now I know I'll put it in the ever-expanding void.
I mean, you could also get really into home brewing, just in terms of space.
Oh, yeah.
Low light.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I have a kit to make sourdough, but I've never started it because you need to get those big square plastic tubs with like the graduations on the side, the little lines that show like how much is in the thing. Put the big plastic bins in there. And it's also really cold. It's like a refrigerator. In fact, this chilly wind seems to chill me both physically and emotionally. It's like it's fear itself. I love this place. You see, this is why I'm my own landlord, This has happened in my old apartment, I would have been such a struggle to claim this as my own. But now this is my House of Leaves place. All right, Joe, what are we talking about today?
We are continuing our conversation about the hopelessness of AI. The specific phrase that Tom and I have come to is gray goo.
Gray goo.
Gray goo. Gray goo.
These days, it seems like everywhere you go, some ghoulish person with more money than you'll ever make is saying, I love the gray goo. I pledge my loyalty to it forever.
I love the gray goo. Everyone gets so excited about anything generative AI shits out because it's exciting that the computer did a weird thing. Accuracy, not so much. So, like, the thing that I keep sending to Tom, because I think it's like a really perfect example of like what people are excited about versus like what is it actually trying to do is the prompt was, this was generative AI video. The prompt was alien walking around New York, paranoid.
Trying to blend in. That's important.
Trying to blend in. And what it produced was like a Mucinex guy. And he's like walking very quickly in a 30-way intersection.
Yes, and he's walking in a circle, a tight circle. Like how you do when you're trying to blend in.
And like he's not really blending in, but everyone was like reacting like this is amazing because like what had happened is it produced a video with an alien, and that was like kind of like just whatever. Like don't worry about the specifics. And well, Twitter has the problem now that like the worst people are at the top of every reply thread. Every reply thread is awful. But it's just a lot of people reacting like, "Oh my God, this is so cool. This is amazing." And it's like it didn't. On the terms you gave it, it's not good, but it's very much like the Buster Scruggs counting chicken thing where everyone is losing their mind. Actually, the counting chicken is way cooler.
Yeah.
Because it's actually doing math.
Yeah.
And this is sort of like where I get frustrated and also sort of interested in this aspect of it, which is when you start talking about artistic choices. Like, okay, everything we see in this video, this alien walking around, this 80-way intersection, because this was just produced by a computer and not a person. We don't really know why the rationale for any of these things were. We don't know if they were ineffective choices. Mm-hmm. Like, in a very generous reading, I could see the paranoid aspect of the prompt being satisfied by the like 30-way intersection. Like that is like maybe an effect to give a feeling of paranoia. We don't fucking know because it just spits out shit. Okay, there's like no one you can ask. There's no process. There's no social aspect. And if that makes you excited, like why are you alive?
Yeah, this is a big thing that I keep coming around to. And I don't mean to invoke this lightly. I understand that what I'm about to say is serious, and I mean it seriously. The thing I keep coming to when I see like these AI and the evangelicals, or even just like normies who see the AI video and it's like, this is cool. This is going to be every movie soon. and I'm fine with it. If this is gonna be, like, if you really think and are, like, ready for it, that all art, all videos, all movies, all music is gonna be made by the computer, like, why do you want to get up in them? Like, why do you want to be an alive guy? Like, what is the point of, like, of getting up?
The inverse of this is, like, I literally cannot imagine existing in the world as a person who is excited about this, like, just on its merits. The example that was going around, it was a post about, like, I can't wait to watch Fight Club, but I'll tell the computer to swap out some of the actors to some other people I like. And it's like, if that is appealing to you, like, you're fucked. Like the movie was casted with choices.
Yes.
The director made additional choices based on casting. Like, to just, like, paper over everything with just, like, sort of, like, weird... Honestly, it makes me think of, like, the magnetic clings on the TV. You would just...
Yes.
It's just like, I want pterodactyl.
It's to me, this is the symptom of, like, people who who do not know what it takes to be creative, and not like it's hard. Like, I don't mean to be, like, the gatekeeping guy. Like, anyone can make some shit up. Like, even if you do it really badly, if you've cranked the crank and done the process, you sort of understand the shape of the process, even if you didn't make something that you're super proud of or that anyone else likes. But, like, the idea that you can just be like, if I say make Fight Club, but Tyler Durden is played by Jared Fogle and it'll be just as good. Like, if you think that's gonna work, that's a bad example because that's very funny.
That's pretty good. Actually, I'm like really on the fence now about AI. That's kind of funny.
No, but okay, I'm talking about, like, the AI shit makes me say, like, why do you want to get up in the morning? Like, if it like, legitimately, and I'm not saying this to be like a gotcha. Like, if it wasn't that you already had, like, a routine where you get up and, like, and intentionally prolong
You're
your
saying
life.
there's life momentum. All
yeah,
right.
like, if it was not that, like, if it was not that you had momentum and it's like, I should probably continue to be alive today because that's how it's been. Like, what is your, like, reason to be, like, I forget, there's some fucking philosophizer I read about in high school who, like, does this, like, that's, like, one of the things that he does in his, like, therapy. Maybe he's a psychologist, not a philosophizer, but, like, one of the things that he does is he, like, asks his patients, like, again, I do not invoke this lightly. I mean this, like, very seriously. And I'm not saying this is a gotcha. I want you to answer seriously. Like, why have you not killed yourself? Because, like, they will have an answer because they haven't, and that will sort of guide the conversation of, like, okay, now let us use this to find, like, what you think is the inherent meaning of your life and what about it makes you think that it is worth continuing, because obviously you do, otherwise you wouldn't have continued. I really truly feel that if, like, there was, like, if all art was just going to be AI shit forever and that was all that there was to look forward to, like, truly, what is left? Like,
graffiti. Like, that's the only thing.
Graffiti and, like, eating dinner. I like eating. Actually, bad example, because that makes it, like, eating dinner rules. No, but, like, okay. What am I going to watch while I eat dinner? I got to have TV on. They're not going to make any more fucking shows. And, you know, okay, here's another thing. Tell me if this makes sense to you. Because the more I think about this, the more I think this is true. Is that, especially with, like, okay, actually, this makes my Jared Fogle and Fight Club thing bad again. This makes it a good example by making it bad. To me, there is no actual need for the AI to execute on the prompt. You know what I mean? Like, computer, make Fight Club with Jared Fogle instead of Brad Pitt. And say the computer did do that. I would look at it for 1 second, go, you sure did, and then turn that shit off. Similarly, like, the alien walking in the circle. I remember when that post went around. I looked at that for about 2 seconds. I'm like, got it. He's walking in a circle, and I stopped it because like there's nothing left.
It
to
feels
actually...
like a mobile game ad. Your eyes just bounce off it.
Yes, and even if it was good, it just feels like I got it. You know, like if it's just going to be executing on the prompt, like, well, okay, I know the formula, I know the pattern, I've seen it. You don't actually need to do it. You don't actually need to like burn the 10,000 trees it takes to execute on the prompt. I know what it's going to be like at the end because you gave it instructions, you know? So that's
also the fun sauce here, is that like this isn't scaling with energy at all. Like this,
Yes.
oh man, you have to feed a whole Amazon into it every second.
Yeah, just so that it can be like, is it safe to breathe in the gas from my stove? And it's like, yeah, probably. And that cost like every tree in Europe to be cut down. Anyway, no, okay. So when I talk about like this shit makes me feel like if this actually happened, I would not see like it would be very difficult to like understand life as like a thing worth doing, is because like what is it about art that is so interesting to me that gives life meaning? Because I don't want to be one of those guys that's like, all creativity is magical. I'm not. Honestly, it's because there's always going to be some new shit to look forward to that I don't know about. Like, there's going to be a game that iterates on old concepts in a new way that I never would have thought of before. I'm going to think it's really cool. There's going to be a show with a premise that I never thought of before that's going to be really cool. There's going to be like, oh, the artist I like is putting out a new thing. He's matured and grown.
Okay, the AI true believers are going to say it'll do that. It'll do that. It'll do that.
It won't. Here's the thing, it won't.
No, it won't.
Because it's always just going to be the formula. And I'm not saying that they don't make formulaic shit now. Most shit is formulaic, but like it could be good. I don't think this shit could ever be good. And it's like I said, to me, the actual the AI executing on its instructions is not useful. Like, don't actually do it. Like, it's already done. You don't need to, like, we all get it. You don't need to actually do it. So once the day comes where it's like all art's going to be AI from now on, to me, that means that all art that will ever be created has been created, which means that it is essentially already over. Because
you pissed in the pool.
Yeah.
And we are seeing record layoffs in the gaming industry. Obviously, much of the AAA studio stuff is not sustainable for many reasons, but like it's so clear that the hope is that they will have as much as possible done by AI with reusable assets. And here's the thing, though. It's like you could make a good game that does some of that stuff, but it's going to have that shit in it. And you'll know. You'll be able to see.
And it's going to feel disgusting. And like, I don't know. Maybe I hope that's a sizable chunk of people who just will forever understand that this gray goo is like disgusting. It's just like, even if like that's the thing, even if it gets good, and I say good to me, like even if it gets to a point where it is not obviously fucked up, like where it can understand that an intersection goes 4 ways and an alien blending in would not have blue skin, because that's
women only have 9
women only have
on
9
one
fingers.
hand.
You know what, actually, this is a good way to put it. I'm just remembering this. My wife actually told me this, but this is, I think, very illustrative. So you'll remember when we had Kevin Johnson on, our homie Kevin. We talked a lot about the job that me and him had in Evanston that sucked ass. But one thing we also talked about in addition to that is that Kevin has something like 2,000 hours playing Counter-Strike, which, if you're not familiar, is Counter-Strike is like a first-person shooter, the default version. All the first-person shooters are Counter-Strike, but with some compromises, or Counter-Strike, but with some extra gimmicks. If you just take everything away and have it be its core, it's Counter-Strike, and he's played it for 2,000 hours. And as a result, when he sees like a trailer for a new single-player PvE,
he can activate the touch and see.
Yeah, as soon as he sees what sort of patterns the game expects from the player, he doesn't need to play it. He's like, I already beat that game in my head. Like, it's done. I don't need to play it. I know what movement it wants me to do. I know what aiming it wants me to do. I know I can do those things. The game is done. That is how I feel about, like, what if everything was AI? I'm like, well, then the game is done. I know that it's going to just go into the vault. It's going to put shit together based on what is most fucking probable to be put next to each other. And it's going to follow its instructions, and it's going to be that forever. I get it. Why, why do it? And if that's going to be every day, if the only thing that you have to look forward to is like they're going to turn the crank again and it's going to be exactly the same as last time, then what are we doing? This is what these fucking gray goo freaks don't understand, is that I know that to you, to the bottom line, removing humans from the equation is really exciting because humans cost money, but motherfucker, you're forgetting that that's all that we are. Society is
expensive.
People and guys.
Cost.
We talked about layoffs. Layoffs aren't just happening in artistic industries. Even in fucking learn to code tech jobs, everyone's getting laid off.
Yeah, the I think I saw a roundup of done by Indeed that was positions that have had the craziest drop offs in amounts of posting, and it's computer guy.
Yeah.
All the computer jobs are just down 50% since last year over year.
And it's very funny because it's an article. If you are a business guy, it is an article of faith, and also rightly so. You can't really argue with this, that ever hiring a person who lives in America is the dumbest move. Never hire an American. Why would you? Always hire someone overseas who you can pay 2 cents and exploit. It's the same thing as gray goo, where it's just yes, I understand that this excites you as a bottom line freak, but you must understand that you live in America, and if no one has a job, that's going to be a real problem. And similarly, if there's going to be, people have been making art. Every culture makes art. It is very clear that for whatever reason, this is something that we as a people have to do. Not every person, obviously. There's some people who don't give a shit about any art. Whatever. Live your life. Enjoy it. But I'm talking about the average person. It is undeniable that the average person from the beginning of time to now has some emotional connection to art. And if that's just going to be taken away, it's do you not fucking see that this is a problem? You still live with humans. You still are one, you fucking monster.
Yeah, I think that's sort of the real issue, is that art is a social thing. It's happening in a context.
Yes.
Actually, let's talk about Kengan Ashura, a wonderful piece of fiction that really fixed a lot of problems with tournaments. Mm-hmm. But Tom, how would you describe genre?
It is, and we'll talk about this more later. I would say a genre that if we're gonna apply the Wendig test to it, which is what is this actually saying? Genre is just a shorthand for the viewer for we have made these choices about this piece of art already. So this decision space is locked off, so you sort of have an idea of where we're starting from.
Yeah, I agree with that. The thing I would say that I don't align on is the locked off part, in the sense that genre and the conventions, these are social things we get used to. We hoot and holler about shonen bullshit. The teens saying, "Did you say having friends sucks ass?" Mm-hmm. We love these things because it's also it's not just funny because those words are said. It's funny because it's the most true thing that happens in that context, mm-hmm. and is not actually wacky given what we expect from that. Mm-hmm. And
also when you hear it again, as you say, it's in conversation. When someone says, "Did you say having friends sucks ass?" Your mind is taken to all the previous times that has happened. And because you have a history of knowing that having friends is good from the other things you've read, and you know that the author of this piece also has that, it's part of a rich tradition.
Yeah, I mean, it's back and forth, and also it's not static. It's part of a conversation.
Yes.
So we fucking love tournaments. Kengan Ashura is the best tournament manga. It's about a crazy tournament where crazy guys got to fight for 1 week. But let's return to genre. how many times before you read Kengan Ashura have you seen a tournament where there's fighting gods? Like this was not like a new concept.
Yeah, like 100 times.
Like, yeah, like, in fact, I think for a while I didn't watch anime unless that shit happened.
Yeah.
Those things, those expectations you have, sort of inform your expectations. And the author of Kengan Ashura, and this is where I think it's a social thing and very fun, is he gets to play with your expectations of the genre and what a fighting tournament manga is. Mm-hmm. And one of those just fucking classic things is like you introduce the hero, like the cool guy, and then you introduce like the psycho bad guy. He fights the psycho bad guy and beats him is like what your DNA tells you. In this one, the psycho bad guy gets put in a different seed because it's random, and he gets like just washed by like a middle-aged karate guy who, as a character, that character just like shits on expectations.
Yes.
It's wonderful. Mm-hmm. It's truly wonderful. And the reason all this shit hits so well is not because he decided wouldn't it be wild if this tournament did these things. It's hitting because you have seen shades of this 100 times. So when there is slight variations, you start wagging your tail. And then when you get sort of the rug pulled under you, and spoilers, the thing that makes fucking Kengan Ashura so good is that Karate Beardo, the middle-aged karate guy, is like, he wins. He like beats all this like the important characters. It's hysterical. Mm-hmm. That doesn't work unless you know what the social conversation is with all the piggies like in their tournament slop on. Mm-hmm. And a computer can't do that. Okay? You can say, make a tournament and like have a wacky twist, but it's not going to do what we just described.
Yes. It's not going to be coming from someone who knows what they're doing, who knows the sandbox they're playing with, who loves it, who understands, is like making the thing that they want to see. Because that's something that when people will ask me, like, why did you do this about Anime Sickos? Like, why did you have the show be like this? And like the answer is always like, because when I imagine what I consider to be the best possible podcast, like what would the best podcast ever do? I do that thing for Anime Sickos. And it's like, and thus the show is an expression of, you know, me and you. It is like, this is us in a very real sense. This reminds me of, and there is, so have you ever heard the album Deltron 3030? You were a white guy in college. You must have heard this.
Yeah, but I never did that sub-spec thing where I knew all the rap. I don't know. I just played Fallout 3 a lot.
That's fair. Well, Deltron 3030 is very like white guy rap 101. It's Del the Funky Homo Sapien, who is Ice Cube's cousin, but he's like kind of kooky. He's like a weirdo. He's alternative. And in this album, he's doing like a concept where it's the year 3030. I want y'all to meet Deltron Zero and Automator, who is the producer. Anyway, he's a future guy, you know, and the concept is very loose. It doesn't really make sense, but like he just gets to rap about like I'm shooting a computer virus through the mainframe, and it's like white guys love this. I'm living proof.
Yes.
There is one line from the song Madness that I thought was very corny and stupid, but I now realize it is one of the most prescient pieces of poetry that has ever been written. The line reads, and I'm saying this verbatim, this is not from memory. I looked it up to make sure that this was exactly what it was. I'm glad I love music and life. When you first hear that, you're like, yeah, okay, buddy. Sure. Great line. Real hard. You're a great writer. I mean, he is, but like this seems a little lazy. Now I'm like, oh shit. I see people who don't love music and life all the time, and I'm like scared of them. And buddy, I'm glad I love music and life. Here's the reason why it hits so hard, in my opinion. What is the one thing that for all of human history has always been true of every single piece of art that has ever existed in every genre and every medium across all cultures, all eras, since the very first cavemen put fucking pictures of buffalo on the wall, what has always been true? You don't need to do any research, but you know this is true. The one thing is that all of it was created by an alive person. They may not be alive now, but they were alive then. It's always been an alive person. Life has been an elemental ingredient of all art forever. It is a foundational part of what it means to be a human, and it is inextricably bound to life. AI art, I don't care how good it is.
It's anti-spiral technology.
It is made by a corpse. It comes out of the brain of a dead fucking corpse. I'm sorry, it is dead. And, like, it makes dead art for dead minds. And I hate it. I am glad I love music and life.
The thing that is very clear to me, that is unaddressed by much of the AI conversation, is that people just aren't saying that they really like telling a computer to do a thing and it does it. The quality of the output is secondary. Like there's a contingent of people who have a boner for that forever, and it's our problem now, I guess.
That's so sick, because I can kind of see what the appeal is of that, but just be like a fucking normal person and write a Visual Basic macro for an Excel spreadsheet. I do that for my job, and when that macro works, I get such a feeling of elation. And just do that. That doesn't, I mean, it might make my fucking laptop get hot, but it doesn't mean that you have to use like half the remaining fresh water to like cool down the GPU that made the AI do it. Oh my God. Like, yeah. No, I don't agree with the people who were like, restaurants are bourgeoisie and awful and anti-communist because the only reason you go to a restaurant is to feel like you have a servant. And it's like, no, I go to eat dinner. It's like,
there's definitely people who that's how it registers, but I like to eat a nice sandwich sometimes.
It is not as though the concept of restaurants is inherently evil because the main purpose is servitude. But like but when it comes to a computer, like, no, that's true for computers. When the computer like does what you say, that's so dope. And I think they should be more, like you say, they should be more honest about that. That's unspoken, and it should be spoken, because it sort of exposes this as like the sort of perverted, like, please do what I say, hee that it is. But when you do a fucking macro and the macro works and all the tedious manual stuff on your spreadsheet that you used to have to do happens automatically, that's dope because you did that. Having a fucking AI just do it through a stupid black box of death makes me sick.
Also, it's not going to do it right.
It's going to do it
wrong. And then
you
won't know how to, like... Yes.
Yeah. Bullshit. Fucked up.
The black box is important, though. That's a key element, too, which is, like, how is this made? Honestly, not clear. Just, like, there's no way of knowing. It came out of the goo box, but, like, unlike a movie or something else, there's maybe, like, tax records or a name.
Yeah.
There's none of that.
Or you can interview the people responsible and be like, what was your thinking about this? What were you going for? And they can give you an answer. Or maybe the answer they give you can be cryptic, and that itself is a part of the art. Actually, This is a perfect segue. Joe, do you mind if I segue to segment number 2?
Do it.
So, strap in, folks. Professor Tom is here, and class is in session. I'm about to give you everything useful that I got out of 4 years of university education in the English program at DePaul University in half an hour. I'm saying this because someone on Patreon, I should probably have looked up who, I'm not gonna, asked for some further expansion on a point I made before, that art is inherently a series of choices, and that an interesting way of analyzing art and appreciating it is attempting to follow that series of choices. I am now going to fucking expand as requested. Here it is. The thing you have to understand about art is that it can be literally anything. A blank page represents infinity, and I don't mean this in a silly way. No, like, it's like right now you sitting at home, you can, it's allowed. Like, the cops aren't going to get you. You can make anything. Like, it's fine. Because you just can't. There's no prerequisite. You already have infinity stretching in front of you. You can take the step at any time. When the process of creation begins, what is actually happening? Again, let's do the Wendig thing where we look at Chuck Wendig's ridiculous paragraph and it's like, this is ridiculous, but what is he actually saying? Like, what does it actually mean to create art? You are collapsing the infinite into one possible permutation. You're taking the multiverse and you are ending up with this is universe prime, okay? Everything you do, everything any creator does, is a decision that locks out. And Joe, you took offense to my using locked out before. I think it is a little too harsh of a term, but bear with me.
It just makes other choices, like, it puts specific choices in front of you.
Yes. You make a choice. Yeah. Making a choice also means you didn't make every other possible choice you could have made in its stead. That's what I mean by locks out. When you're making art, you were locking out the other possibilities. When you were deciding to write a sentence a given way, you were deciding not to write it the other way. The longer you live, the more you see the same decisions getting made over and over. This is why art becomes boring. This is why something might be like derivative to you. Because what you're seeing is, I already knew you were going to make this decision. To go back to one of the jokes from the Oops All Sketches episode when we were at therapy with Dr. Genocide, do you know how I know that joke was bad? Because you thought I was going to say it. It is also why, like, for me at least, Andor was so good, because Star Wars as a franchise comes with 1 billion decisions pre-made, especially now that it's part of like a Disney annual franchise. Like, you see Star Wars, you don't even need to watch it. It's the same thing about, like, you don't need to make the AI thing. The fact that I know that it will be made is essentially the same as it already having been made. Like, you don't need to do, like, I don't need to watch Star Wars. I already know all the decisions that got made. It's fine. Like, I don't need to waste my time being like, yep, that is what I fucking thought. Okay, we're done. Andor was good because it was doing things differently. It made the choices that were not normally made for Star Wars, and as a result, it just fucking surprised me. It was compelling. It challenged me. And so here's what you got to do as a reader or viewer or listener or whatever art you're consuming. I think that one of the most interesting, not the only way, obviously, but one of the most interesting and useful ways to understand and appreciate art is to recognize the decisions that were made in it. Try to understand why they were made. I'm not saying it's possible to. You'll never know what was in the mind of the author. And also, the author doesn't know what effect their choices have. But, I mean, the attempt itself is the point. And part of the attempt itself is understanding, at least for you, what the impact of the choices are, even if you don't know, why they were made. This is why, for me, that meme of, like, this meme where it's like, English teachers, why were the curtains blue? They indicate the author's symbolism of the melancholy of the main character. And then, and then the author replies, I said the curtains were blue because the curtains were fucking blue. This shit is the most moronic and dumb shit I ever heard in my life. If you are a curtains are fucking blue person, I'm sorry to insult you, but I am insulting you. I think you're stupid. Stop being that person. It is an infant's way of thinking. If you know the curtains are blue, it means that either they were, shown as blue on screen, or words were put on the page to describe the curtains as blue. They could have left that out. There was a choice made to describe them as blue. Because of a choice someone made, there are blue curtains.
And the choice might not matter. It might not matter, but it happened, and it's just like, maybe it was arbitrary.
Yes.
That's fine.
It's fine. Like, it's fine that they're arbitrary. Maybe the only thing that choice actually, like, indicates is that the author is a dullard who likes putting in details that aren't important. There are authors like that who will just put in visual details that you don't need to know about and don't add anything because he thinks, I think I should describe some stuff that you could see in this scene. The curtains were blue. And there could even be an author who, when challenged on their blue curtains in their book, will say, I wrote it that way because the curtains are fucking blue. Even if they say that, they still made the decision to say that they were fucking blue. Like, I'm sorry. If they're like, I didn't make that decision. No, you fucking did. Because I know that they're blue, and I wouldn't unless you decided to do that. They might think...
The criminal error here, the snarky thing that's annoying, is the idea that every single choice is so infused with meaning that you have to know. But it's not... That is not the
Yes,
case.
exactly. Yes. This is why I say, like, it could be that the only thing that the choice means is that the author isn't very good at this. And the other thing, like, even if the author says, like, that choice wasn't actually, like, a choice, that was just, like, who cares? Like, that doesn't matter. It's not significant.
In movies, you get a lot of, why was it done like this? Oh, well, because there was this insane complication, and that's how we shot around.
Yeah, or, like, we went to IKEA and got the cheapest curtains. But, like, even if the author is, like, this, like, why are you wasting time on this? It's not, like, I can tell you that is not important. And that was not actually a choice. That was like, whatever. Here's the other thing. This is what you have to understand. And this is why I was saying, like, the author might not know that they made a choice or what their choice meant. If a reader takes something from something, sorry, fucko, it's significant now. Art is a two-way street. It is a communication between two souls, and you don't get to tell the other soul how to feel.
They can be an idiot, though, and, like, are definitely focusing on the wrong thing, for sure. But that's their shit.
This is, again, like, all the shit I'm saying is not, like, this is how it is, because again, this is all just people. Every artist is just some fucking guy. Everyone who's consuming art is just some fucking guy. We're all dumb as shit, dude. None of us know what's going on. The fun thing and the thing that's going to enrich your life is just... It's like fucking Ishmael and Moby Dick trying to understand the whale. You never will. You just won't. But there is value in the attempt. The attempt will tell you something about yourself that you didn't know already. And that itself is valid.
I understood the whale. The whale was easy.
It was a big fish, dude.
Yeah.
So this shit I'm talking about, like, you know, the author doesn't know what their choices mean. And the author also does not control what the impact of their choices are for the reader. This is why the death of the author theory is a valid theory that is worth knowing about. Except, here I'm turning it around, an equally infantile way of thinking is to think that death of the author is the only theory of criticism. Because there is as much depth to be plumbed by understanding the person behind the art, who they are, what they feel, and using that context to further understand what is informing the decisions being made. Example, are you seriously going to tell me that Orlando would be a better and more enriching book if you didn't know that Virginia Woolf was writing it to her lesbian GF? No, dude, no. Like, that's the whole point of the book, is that it's like, hey, my GF, you're so hot. Here's a book about you. And, like, when you know that, all the decisions that the book makes, because the book makes some wild decisions, but they, like, oh, I get it. Like, this makes sense. These are people who are deeply in love and want to be fucking. And because I know that, these decisions make a lot of sense. Like, they all click, and it's like, okay, I get it. And part of being a good reader and a good critic is learning to recognize these choices being made. Obviously, there are the choices that you can't miss. These are the huge swings. The things that, like, you couldn't ever miss this choice. Some examples. When a story is set in future times. When a story has everyone with computer names, like Stack Overflow. When Kenny South Park dies every episode but comes back. Like, those are silly choices. Crazy. And, like, the effect is like, ha ha ha, how funny, I laugh. But if you aren't looking for the smaller choices, you don't notice shit like in fucking Moby Dick, a decision was made to make Ishmael a gay autistic whale freak who loses all of his friends in a whale massacre on a whale voyage that he only took to avoid killing himself, and then became a guy who only ever talks about whales in a reverent, awestruck tone that approaches ecstatic poetry. That is a very rich and weird character. Like, you could think about a guy like that. Like, that's a weird fucking... If you met that guy, you'd be like, that's one of the most singular guys I've ever seen in my life. And yet, many readers, for decades, in fact, when the book came out, all critics thought this. The book was panned as a failure when it came out. Everyone thought Ishmael is barely a character. He's basically just an author insert. He's not really anything. He's barely in the book. And it's true in the sense that he doesn't do very much on screen, but like the whole book is him talking. Like he's never not on screen, really, considering like the entire, like there was a choice made to have the whole book be like this weird whale freak is just talking to you about whales, and he'll never shut up. Like he's just going on and on. And the thing is, even if it was true that like Ishmael's not a character, it's just Herman Melville's self-insert. I don't think that's true, but even if it was, fucker, consider how intimate and vulnerable it is for Herman Melville to have portrayed himself like that. That's like to think that there was a guy in the 1800s who would willingly put his soul on the page like that is like are you not telling me that that is like one of the most affecting things that you could possibly imagine? Like again, to miss this is to me tragic. Like these choices are so meaningful. They carry so much emotion to me, and it sickens me that like you could just miss it. Like not that like I think like you're a bad person if you miss it. I'm just like in the way that I'm sick about like injustice and inequality. It's like there's so much beauty and joy out there, and it's just waiting for you. You can have it, and like that some people don't have it. Makes me sad.
Also, like generative AI just carves it out of the body of the world.
Yeah, it is a corpse making there's no decisions being made because there is no human soul driving the ship. When the infinite blank page is being collapsed to the one existing universe that the artist wants it to be, there is no captain. You know, there's no person who is deciding what is happening. There is no meaning to be derived from the choices because they actually were not choices. A corpse made these choices based on fucking numbers that they programmed into it, and no one really understands. This shit is also like this might sound like I'm very highfalutin and like I'm the art guy. This is also, you may not even know that this is happening, but like if you've ever watched a movie that was so bad it's good, the reason you were compelled and liked it is because you were contemplating the choices that were being made, even if you didn't know all this shit I just said. If you watched...
Why would you say the line like that? That's very funny.
Everyone says, what were they thinking? What were they thinking is literally, why were those choices made? And it's easy, like, it's an instinct to ask that about bad movies. And the reason is, because at the core, the thing that's funny about a bad movie is that they made dumber decisions than you thought they would.
Making a movie is so fucking hard. So like to like make a bad one and have to make bad choices all along the way. Yeah, that's very funny.
Yeah. So what I want to what I want you to take away from this is that you should keep saying what were they thinking when you watch a bad movie, but also start saying what were they thinking when it's good. Like how did this be so good? Like what's good about this? What turn did the creative process take that brought me into this is good territory? Again, this is why like I think it's important to be like very open-minded about what you watch and read, because like even if there's a premise that you don't find super compelling on its surface, it's possible that the journey that art takes on its path to its destination itself has the meaning in it. You know, the choices that are made moment to moment can be so compelling, so interesting. Like there have been movies I've watched about shit that I think is very boring. If you gave me the fucking top line description, I'd be like, who cares? But like the way it goes about what it is the actual movie. This is why, again, like I have people who disagree with me on this, but I am very like, me personally, I am not a person who believes spoilers are a real thing. I do not care about whether or not I know the plot of a thing before I see it. It has never affected my experience one way or the other, because what matters is not just like the facts, like the bullet points of like what happens. The bullet points of what happens are like whatever. 10 people could make a movie with the same bullet points of what happens, and they would be 10 very different experiences.
This happens. There's like what is that? It's a phenomenon that happens when like two movies about the same thing. Like there's two volcano movies that came out the same year.
There's The Prestige and then the second one. Two magician movies.
One where magic is real.
I think they're both Magic is fake in both of them, but one of them has like
Wait, which one had the cloning like
that is the prestige because David Bowie invented a cloning machine. But that wasn't magic. That was science. That was Serbian science at its best. This is why the Croats hate them so much because they make clones, which is not what God wants.
Yes, because they're zapping each other and then they're army doubles. It's hard.
Yes.
It's hard to play around that.
All this is to say, if you're not consciously doing this, I want you to give it a try because it has given me a lot of richness in my life. It's been very fruitful for me. And again, I do not want to be like the highfalutin guy who's like all art is sacred. Most art sucks big ass. And most choices made in art do not allow you to derive meaning from them. Most of them derive, we were clocking in and making some bland shit for a paycheck. Or
this is SEO to hell. Like, I mean, if we're talking about videos or something, yes.
Or like even something like you could look at the choices made and come to the conclusion that the artist is saying, I'm way over my head. I can't pull this off. Like, that's true. But like, I still think even in that situation, there is value in learning to understand what choices, or rather, there's in learning to understand how the choices made communicate that. Like, what?
Can I reinforce that in
sure
a way?
can.
We talked about Kengan Ashura. I'm reading Kengan Omega. Here's the thing about Kengan Omega. It is all over the place. It is not even, I would not say the quality is very consistent, but there's a huge joy of it for me. It's like, how is the tournament guy going to land this fucking plane
Yes.
he built that is too complicated?
Yes.
He constructed his own tomb. This is all on him. But yeah, it is that. And like, you get to see him work through it every week.
Yeah. Yes, that's fucking, dude, this is why manga is so good. I hate that. I mean, the weekly schedule kills people and is bad and they shouldn't do it. But while it's still around, the upshot is you get to go on the journey with the author. You get to see the choices being made in real time. And I think that's so interesting. And especially why it's so gross to consider, like, why, like one day we'll be able to replace the artist with AI and they'll make the comics. It's like, no, the whole point is like, I'm sort of, again, like I'm in conversation as the reader with the artist and like I'm going on the journey with him. I'm saying him because I'm a boy. I'm not saying all artists are
but
boys.
Like, you're right, though.
I'm a
it's
boy.
like this is a 30-year relationship where I've come to understand that you love genie pants.
Yes. And then like when I
and it's like the genie pants aren't important. Like they're not, but like the fact that I have now like tuned into this is important.
And when I see a new character with genie pants, I'm like, I know that my man was like, I've had a rough week. I need a treat for me. And he made a character with genie pants. God damn. It's this is what it's all about. This is why, like, considering that this is how I look at and appreciate art. I'm glad I love music in life. I think you can see why it's so disgusting to me that people are excited for corpse art that comes from hell, that there is no decisions being made. It was basically just fucking someone wrote a math equation and it's just turning the crank and fucking pellets are dropping off. I say, give me the slop. People like to say slop is AI is slop. No, AI is gray goo. Slop is good because it was made by a filthy man in a big pot who's standing in front of a hot griddle.
And he has insane arm hair.
Yes, that is slop. You get it given to you at a disgusting, greasy counter with a drunk man sitting next to you, and it smells really good. And as it's going down, you feel the diarrhea brewing. Gray goo is given to you at like the Apple store out of a tube. There's no one there, and it's fucking nutrient paste from Sickle Shock 2. Good paste.
Good paste. The thing I'm preemptively mourning, and I've already complained to you about this, using a picture I found online as an example, which is like, okay, up until now, anytime someone sent you like a weird picture of like some shit they found, you're like, well, look at this weird store, look at this Bugs Bunny with the huge shirt smoking weed on this store. You know, just fun shit, doesn't matter. I saw a picture of Scrooge McDuck diving into a big cup of lean.
And
That's
very good.
I was sad because I was like, in like 4 years, like that might not have been real. Like there might not actually be a store. And yes, can we identify what is maybe AI using our eyes? Maybe. Here's the thing, though. They're gonna wear you down. I don't got time to be checking all the fingers.
Yes. It's I got other shit to do. Like, you're gonna get tricked and it's gonna hurt.
Yes, and I think it's useful to think about like not like accuracy, but like when something is good for the purposes of AI is not that it's like good on its merits. It just like doesn't warrant a closer look.
And I think I've sort of clicked into like something here, which is like, because when you're talking about Scrooge McDuck diving into a cup of lean, that's like so good. And I thought to myself,
it's like a small business made that choice.
Yes. Okay. And I'm thinking to myself, what would be the difference if an AI made the exact same image? You couldn't, like, literally exactly the same, and there was no way to tell. What would the difference, like, why would that be bad?
The difference is that the AI isn't running a business, okay? Like, he doesn't care about foot traffic. Yes. So it's funny that there was, like, a little human story, and the output was, like, Scrooge McDuck. The solution here is that Scrooge McDuck needs to be visibly jumping into lean.
Yes. Like, there was some person who was like, right now there's nothing. There should be something. What should that something be?
This window is just so big.
There needs to be lean. I need to show that the lean is good. Who's someone who really loves stuff? Scrooge McDuck.
And like, okay, like he's known for diving into stuff, not lean, but diving, certainly that's a very good choice.
I mean, maybe if he would dive into lean, it would show that he has transitioned away from his love of money into lean. I mean, like that, like, again, because you are contemplating the choices, you are living in a richer world. Storytelling, one of the fucking foundational things about human culture. You're doing it to yourself.
And here's what happens to me, and I'm sure many other people are like this. If there's like a decent possibility that what I am looking at was just cranked out by a computer, my brain turns off. Like I cannot override that with genuine interest no matter what. It's just like I'm fucking checking out. Like I want to bounce off.
This is why, like, there are people who are like, I don't see why it's a problem to have AI music. To me, music is just sounds that sound good. And if the AI can do it, what's the problem? And like, motherfucker, going back to Deltron 3030, I'm caught in the grip of the city madness. I'm glad I love music and life. If you say the only thing that was worthwhile about music is whether or not it is sounds that sound good, you do not love music and you do not love life. Like, the point of art is that it was a journey that someone took and you get to come with. What a privilege that's something that's available to you.
It's not all lo-fi.
It's not all lo-fi.
Although lo-fi is good for what it is, but like after a long day of work, I don't like sit and listen to lo-fi with like my hands cradled, like listening intently. It's made to be in the background. And all this AI shit, everything that gets made, it just seems background at best.
Yeah, like, again, if it made a Scrooge McDuck diving into lean the visual equivalent of a good piece of music, the fact is, like, I don't get to have, like, there's nothing exciting about it, you know? The fact that a business put up the Donald Duck. Fuck, Scrooge McDuck. I've edited it out every previous time, but I say Donald Duck every time.
Yeah, it's amazing.
The thing about Scrooge McDuck diving into lean is, like, this is part of the, like, someone wanted this in the world and took the fucking journey. They made all these choices. And just, like, even if the end result is the same, the shortcut that goes from fucking computer, click, enter, this shoots out, I just don't give a fuck. I don't care. I'm sorry. Maybe I'm a snob, but I ask for a little bit fucking more. I'm a living person. You're all living people. Every artist is a living person. Don't we deserve some fucking dignity? Don't you respect other people for being alive? Why are you so filled with death drive that you want to take life away? Life that has been our fucking birthright since humans first ooked out of the monkey cave. Why do you want to take that and replace it with the gray goo that comes out of the fucking dead corpse of hell? I hate you.
Yeah, I agree with all the distaste there for sure.
Joe, I want to leave you with one thought before we wrap up. Recently, I don't know if you knew about this. I don't know if you've been following this as closely as me. Everyone's been going nuts over a rap feud. Kendrick Lamar versus Drake, rap feud. I'm not going to get into it. Just know that there is a rap feud and everyone's been going nuts over it. Huge response to these rap feud songs. It is absolutely taken the music world by storm. Kendrick's most recent rap diss to Drake is like a legitimate smash hit. Not like a smash hit for a diss song, like a smash number one hit song. And the reason it is so exciting and everyone's taking notice is because these are real guys that everyone knows about. And when they say the words on these records, it's because you can take the emotional journey with them. I'll paraphrase it for you. I hate you, Drake. That's sort of the main thing. Here are the reasons why I hate you. And because of that, like, there is again, you get to do, you're not even the artist, you know? You're some fucking guy sitting on your big white ass and listening. And you get to go on a storytelling journey because you are seeing the choices that are being made. You are thinking, why did he say that? Oh, because Drake is a pedophile, because he is fucking teenagers. Oh, dope.
So does it only, like, people knew this beforehand, but does it, like, only count if you put it in a song? That's, like, the thing I don't get. Okay.
Because it's all these, Joe, this is the same thing anytime anyone is ever exposed as a creep. Everyone is always like, this is a big, like, this has been an unspoken thing in the community. And it's like, well, fucking...
The 30 Rock Cosby joke.
Yeah, like, okay, well, then why weren't any motherfuckers speaking about it before now? Anyway, the point being, imagine if this rap hip-hop song feud was just two computers. Who would care? No one could.
There'd be no juice.
And I bet neither of those computers would have been a pedophile.
Tom, don't be ridiculous. Both computers would be pedophiles.
That's all the time we have for Anime Sickos. I've been Tom, an Anime Sicko.
I am Joe, an Anime Sicko.
Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to Anime Sickos. I've been Tom, a sicko. You can follow me on Twitter at TomHarrison19. Joe is also a sicko. You can follow him on Twitter at Sharia Uncle. You can follow Anime Sickos on Twitter at Anime Sickos or email us at animesickos@gmail.com. Please leave us a review or something. I don't know. Tell a friend. Anyway, until next time, bye.